Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Today we're going to cover on this webcast Autodesk's path to subscription. My name is Joe Moradian. I'm a sales executive here at KETIV Technologies. Previously, I worked on the subscription team. I see some of you that have joined this webcast today. You and I have had conversations one-on-one. I want to thank you again for joining us on this more high-level webcast that we're going to go into today. I'm joined by John Wallace, who is another sales executive here at KETIV. Together, we are going to walk you through pretty much all the details associated with the maintenance to subscription program that Autodesk is offering. Just a couple of housekeeping things. I want to make sure everybody on this webcast knows kind of the flow that we're going to go with here. I want to make this as conversational as possible. So make sure if you have any questions along the way to enter them into the questions tab on the right-hand side of your screen. We're going to have a dedicated Q&A session at the end. If it makes sense to answer some of these as we go along, I will do that. Again, thank you all for joining us today, and we're going to get right into today's agenda. All right, so like we just talked about, what we really want to do is a little bit of a review today to cover some of the Autodesk licensing options. We're going to go over some of the terms you may be familiar with, just a little bit of review. And then what I really want to talk to you about is why a lot of our customers and a lot of Autodesk customers are actually choosing to go to subscription. We're going to go into that in depth as well. And then really what Autodesk is promoting and what a lot of our customers are actually adopting is the industry collection. So I want to give you a brief overview of the industry collections as well. And then ultimately, I really want to give you a first look into the scheduled changes that Autodesk has put together. We've got about 3 years or so worth of these changes laid out. We're going to make sure that everybody on this webcast today understands what those are along the way. So what I'm going to do is have John kind of explain to you some of these terms that you may or may not be familiar with. Go ahead and take it from here, John.
Like Joe mentioned, I'd like to kind of kick this off with a little bit of review for you regarding the maintenance plan. So as you know, in the past, starting off, you would buy the software up front, and it actually allowed you to perpetually own the software. Maintenance plans beyond that ensured that you'd have the updates to the software, as well as receive some of the service packs. There were cloud services offered through Autodesk, and you were all probably aware that you had access to their basic support. So I'm sure that there's been some email correspondence between you and Autodesk directly. Again, very brief, very high level, and something that I'm hoping that you're all very familiar with. What I'd like to kind of jump into from here is the subscription plan. In a moment, Joe will actually kind of explain why Autodesk is making that transition. But before that, let's kind of dive into the meat and potatoes here. You'll likely find this familiar as well. I'm sure you've seen some of the emails from both us and Autodesk about this subject. The benefits to subscription actually aren't that different from maintenance. You'd actually still have this updates and the service packs as well as their support. But the real big difference, and it's kind of a great thing about the subscription model, is that you're basically able to lease the software for a set term. This is good for you because you're able to efficiently manage the software needs based on projects that you're taking on throughout the year. It's sort of implying that you can quickly add and reduce the licenses you're utilizing over time. The cost of entry to this is actually lower, and that, along with the flexibility that in adding and dropping the licenses I mentioned, ultimately yields less risk for you. This sort of brings us to the why, and Joe will be going into that next.
Yeah, thank you, John. So, some of the reasons that John mentioned are why a lot of our customers have been adopting the subscription model since it's been introduced about 3 years ago. Originally, Autodesk sold perpetual licenses with a maintenance plan, like John mentioned. About three and a half years ago, they started offering the term-based or desktop subscription licenses, as they were called then. And this actually got adopted a lot quicker than us or Autodesk anticipated. So, they've kind of decided that they want to go forward with the subscription model now and in the future. So about 1.5 years ago now, they discontinued sales of perpetual licenses. The next phase in this path to one model is consolidating their customer base onto subscription. So as of today, there's an R&D team that focuses on the updates for the perpetual licenses. There's another one that focuses on updates for the subscription. The subscription model. As many of you could probably assume, that's pretty inefficient, and it doesn't allow Autodesk to focus all their efforts into doing what they want to do, is make these tools better for you. So what their first step is creating a better platform. So what they've done with the subscription is they've made a more modern platform. And most of our customers would agree that the subscription model, the way that they manage licenses, the way that they connect with cloud services, data management, things like that is actually a lot better than the old perpetual licensing model. One of the reasons for that is what we're going to see over the next 12 to 18 months or so is continuous improvement, similar to the way that you get updates on an iPhone or an Android, rather than the old perpetual licensing model where every March to April, the new version would be released. It would have to be downloaded. It would have to be implemented. If you had data management in place, you would have to upgrade that every single year to make sure the versions are identical. So it was kind of a pain point every single year, and it caused people not to take advantage of the new tools until 2 or 3 years down the road. That's something that's going to be of the past in the near future here, because they're going to be able to push these updates out to you a little bit in smaller pieces throughout the year, so you can adopt those tools a lot quicker. All of this kind of boils down to greater value. So a lot of you I see on this call use Inventor or Inventor Professional. That tool, it's obviously core to some of your businesses, but what we're going to see is rapid expansion of that tool. We're going to see a lot more improvements on that tool because we're on a better platform now. So really the Inventor that you're using today is going to be a lot different than the Inventor that's going to be released in 2 or 3 years from now. So keep in mind that a lot of these tools are going to be improved greatly over the next couple years, which really correlates to greater value to you. One of the things that Autodesk has released now is industry collections. I'm going to let John kind of walk through some of the industry collections and differences between the design suites that many of you are familiar with.
As Joe mentioned, you're probably all very familiar with Autodesk's design suites. The problem there is actually there's just a lot to choose from. So what Autodesk has done in creating these industry collections is they've consolidated there are some 20 plus odd suites into these 3, the product design, AEC, and media and entertainment collections. So what that means is that these collections will include the bulk of the tools that you need for the focused use that you would be using them for. This means that instead of having to deal with cherry picking the tools, you'd actually be able to have all of these at your disposal ready to go within that collection. One of the nice things here is that some of you may have experienced some inconsistencies with the software that your teams were using and dealing with potential cross-compatibility issues. With the collections, they've actually made it simpler to choose, avoid those issues, and streamline your workflow processes.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, John. One thing I do want to add there, what is very nice about going to collections, as he kind of touched on there, is we've seen it a lot to where a company will have, say, 4 product design suite premium licenses. Then they'll have 1 product design suite ultimate, which is a network license. And because there's additional tools in that ultimate suite, they will share those tools amongst everybody. So people, it kind of becomes a pain because not everybody can access the advanced simulation tools, the AutoCAD electrical tools, or even the design utility tools that everyone kind of needs from time to time. What the collection does is it makes sure everybody on your entire team has all of the same tools as each other. So there's no discrepancies there, like you mentioned, and it's easier for everybody to access everything that they need when they need it. Now, there's some Autodesk announcements that have come out that we're going to share with you as well.
So a couple of things, and we've covered this in past webcasts, but as you may have heard, the 3-year maintenance renewals have been discontinued for some time now. They're really moving toward, if you're going to stick on a maintenance plan, it's going to be 1-year terms. There's going to be a planned maintenance price increase over the next couple of years as Autodesk fully makes a transition over to the subscription model. We can share that with you. We actually will shortly. And what wasn't available actually even just a few months ago for those on maintenance plan was the ability to upgrade and switch to the new subscription model. Real shortly here, you're actually going to be able to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, thanks, John. So I've actually put together kind of a timeline here that'll show you some of these changes that John just mentioned. So the end of sale of multi-year maintenance renewals actually went away about 2.5 months ago. End of March was the last time that you can say, you know what, I want to lock in my maintenance for 3 years. Let's go ahead and do that. You cannot do that anymore. You can still renew your maintenance plan. I want to make this very clear. Autodesk is not taking away the ability to renew your maintenance plan. If you want to stay on maintenance, if you really like to own your license in perpetuity, you can do that. It's just going to be on an annual basis. So moving forward, we're almost to June 15th now. So what happened in between those two dates is maintenance actually increased by about 5%. So Autodesk has these maintenance rates established. Every couple years we've seen them go up 5 or 10%. So this one wasn't really out of the ordinary. They've been pretty steady for the last 2 or 3 years before this. We did see a 5% increase happen in the beginning of May. Let's move forward a little bit. We're now June 13th is today's date. So we're talking just 2 days from now, you're going to have the ability to switch your active maintenance plan to a term-based or subscription-based license. Now, you can only do this at the time of renewal. So that's one important point. Let's say your renewal is due in 2018. You will not be able to make the switch until closer to that date. However, as long as your renewal is within 90 days of as long as we're within the 90-day threshold of your renewal date, we can switch you to subscription if you prefer. So the next couple dates in mind here, May of 2018 and May of 2019, we see the second and third increase in the maintenance plans that Autodesk has announced. So what is nice about this, I know the prices are going up, but what Autodesk has done is they've laid out a 3-year plan for us, so we can really help our customers plan for this and make any adjustments now in preparation for the future. So, again, May 2018, maintenance will increase 10%. May of 2019, maintenance will increase by 20%. And those are additive. So, it's 20% increase on top of whatever the maintenance plan is at the time. So again, you can renew your maintenance plan. It's just going to be a little bit more expensive to continue on that model in the future. The main thing is, though, here is on June 15th, in a couple of days, you'll have the ability to switch to subscription. I'm going to show you what the pricing looks like to make that switch. I've used a couple different products here. The first one, Product Design Suite Ultimate. Now, many of you on this call have Product Design Suite Premium or Ultimate. I use this one as an example because this is one of the most popular products that we maintain for our customers. So what I've done is I've put together a 3-year cost of ownership comparison here. And this is actually from Autodesk. We know exactly what these prices are going to be through May of 2020. So the first thing I want to share, the left column, if you want to stay on maintenance for Product Design Suite Ultimate, you absolutely can. The prices to renew that for 2017 through 2020 are listed. So this year, if you want to renew it, it's $1,180 to pay the maintenance for the whole year. Next year, that goes up to $1,300. The following year, it goes up to $1,560, following the 5, 10, 20% increases over the next couple years here. So that boils down to 3 years. If you had one license of Product Design Suite Ultimate, you'd pay roughly $4,000. Now, if you wanted to switch to subscription, you would go to what the Product Design Collection is. Like John mentioned before, is Autodesk has standardized all of these suites onto 3 different collections. Product Design Collection is going to be the best fit for anyone with a Product Design Suite Ultimate. You'll retain all of the tools that you have in the Product Design Suite. You'll actually gain access to tools like Factory Design Utilities, AutoCAD Architecture. The reason those are included is because many of our customers' main role is to create and manufacture products that they sell. However, many of them have to worry about their factory or their warehouse, the manufacturing facilities. So they have engineers that, part-time maybe will lay out those facilities, make them as efficient as possible, really to reduce costs. So in the past, we've had customers that have had Product Design Suite Ultimate. They've also had Factory Design Suite. And there's a lot of overlap in those tools. So what they've done is they've combined them into one. So that's on the Product Design Collection. Now, when you switch, what they're doing is they've set a standard price for the switch, which is $840. That's actually based on the maintenance price of a Product Design Suite Premium. So right off the bat, let's say you decided to switch this year, the immediate savings would be about $340, and you would get access to the collection, the more modern platform, more robust tools, and really the platform that Autodesk is going going to spend most of their time and efforts developing in the future. Now, the best part about this is if you do switch this year, they're going to lock in the rate you switch in through May of 2020 at least. So what that boils down to is you'll see that on the maintenance side, prices are going to continually going up. On the subscription side, they're going to remain the same. So all in all, for one license, if you're one person that has one product design suite ultimate, you switch to a product design collection, you're going to save a little over $1,500 in 3 years. Now, the main question we get asked, and I actually see somebody typing it in here, is what happens in year 4, right? So year 4, we don't have official pricing from Autodesk yet. It's kind of hard for a company to gauge where they're going to be at, where their competition is going to be at in 4 years. But what they've told us is the rates are going to stabilize roughly at that point that they're at in 2020. We expect them to settle at about 10 to 15% higher than the maintenance rates are today. So it probably will go up a little bit in 2020. However, the main thing you need to understand here is, that's a long time from now, number one. Number two, Autodesk does not want to alienate their customer base. We have over 2 million customers on a maintenance plan. We want to make you guys happy. We want to stay competitive because there are other tools on the market as well. So those are things that Autodesk understands, and those are things that Autodesk has addressed. So although we don't have all the details now, we can assure you that it's going to be similar to your maintenance rates today, and it's going to be competitive within the market at that time. We're going to go into the Q&A session here in a minute. I see some have come through. Please make sure to enter any questions that you do have over the next couple minutes here. Some of the next steps that we've been discussing with the companies we work with one-on-one is, you see at a high level what the maintenance to subscription program details. Let's talk about that one-on-one. So if it's you that manages the contract, maybe you're an end user, maybe you'd like to sponsor a meeting with the person that's in charge of, renewing the contract, adding new tools, things like that. We would really like to set up a one-on-one call to show you exactly what this is going to look like for you and your organization specifically. If you know your account manager or your renewal representative, you can reach out to them directly. You can also email info@ketiv.com and the appropriate person will reach out to you. The next thing I kind of mentioned earlier is plan for future licensing needs now. The reason is for this is when you switch from a maintenance plan to a subscription, you obviously get a significant discount on the normal price of a subscription license. If you only have 5 engineers now, but you anticipate you're going to have maybe 1 or 2 added in the next couple years, let's start that conversation now. Let's plan for that so we can help you understand and prepare your budget for what it's going to cost to add additional engineers or to maintain additional licenses you have now in preparation for the future. One of the things that most people on this webcast are going to receive is the product design collection if you do switch. So if that is the case, many of you will adopt new tools. You'll get Inventor Professional, which has routed systems. It has FEA. It has mold design. You'll get AutoCAD Electrical, so you can do advanced wiring diagrams. You'll get the factory design utilities and the AutoCAD architecture. Because there's all these new tools and because you're going to be saving money on the actual renewal, the software licensing aspect, I really encourage you to talk to your sales representative about taking some tailored training. We have a custom training catalog that we have 30, 40 different courses in there, and they're mostly tied to Inventor, AutoCAD, mechanical, simulation, and so on. I would really encourage you to look at the additional tools you're going to get and make sure that you get value with those tools by adopting them into your workflow. So again, to help with that, we are going to, for everyone that's on this webcast, we're having an incentive to promote a 25% discount on any of the KETIV training catalog courses. Most of these, like I said, will be related to FEA, factory design utilities, and AutoCAD Electrical, because these are the tools the majority of you will get immediately. However, if any of you are on this webcast and there's other tools that you would like to learn more about, you'd like to improve your workflow, your processes, please let us know. We can extend this discount to you as well. I'd be really happy to talk to anyone offline about that. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. This kind of concludes our presentation on the specific details of the maintenance to subscription program. I'm going to go through some of the questions that have come through over the past 20 minutes here. Again, feel free to enter anything else into this that you would like additional clarification on. And if we are unable to answer all the questions here, I do see some that have come through. I would really like to have anyone that needs any additional clarification to email info@ketiv.com or contact your sales representative. So I got an email or a question here from Scott asking if we switch in 2019, when our current subscription expires, will that price still be $840, or is that if you switch now? Yeah, so that's a good question. So $840 is today's price. So what it's going to be is when you switch, it's going to match the price of the maintenance plan at that time. So let's say it's in 2019. You'll probably incur another increase between now and then. So whatever the maintenance is at that time, you would definitely be able to switch to subscription for whatever the maintenance is. So that would be something that we can kind of take offline and show you exactly what that would look like. But yeah, it would be based off of the going maintenance rate at the time that you switch. Good question. All right, so here is another question from Dan. What are the options available when my current maintenance comes up for renewal? So yeah, so you have the ability to continue on maintenance. If you want to renew your maintenance, you can do that. We can renew or extend these within a 90-day window of it actually expires. So let's say your contract expires September 13th. We would be able to either renew your maintenance as early as today or switch you to subscription as early today, So that's something that is available to you roughly 3 months before your subscription actually expires. Okay, another question here. What are my options if I want to switch products on maintenance to subscription? Yeah, so there's a couple different options here. So let's say you have AutoCAD, you don't have a product design suite. So you have a standalone product like AutoCAD, Inventor on its own. There's actually a few options. So you could retain just that single standalone product like AutoCAD. So say you have AutoCAD, you're okay with AutoCAD and you want to continue on AutoCAD, you would switch that to subscription if you prefer. And the maintenance and the subscription rates would be identical. So AutoCAD, I know, is $570 per year to renew the maintenance. It would be the same exact price to go to subscription. You would also have the option at that time to upgrade to a collection, say a product design collection or a AEC collection, and you would pay whatever the going rate is to switch to that collection, which for a product design is $840. So what's really good about this is there's many people that have AutoCAD that want to get into 3D modeling and Inventor. They at least want to get into AutoCAD Mechanical. In the past, you would have had to pay, an upgrade fee for a few $1,000s, or you'd have to buy a brand new license to do that. Now you can simply pay a couple $100s more than what you're used to on your maintenance, switch into a collection, and get all those tools immediately for just a couple $100s more of an investment. So that's a pretty good offer. The next question in here is related to standalone licenses and network licenses. Yeah, it's a great question. So essentially what you can do is he's asking if we have a standalone license of Inventor, can we go to a network license of a collection? So although you can go from Inventor to a product design collection, at this time Autodesk does not have a way to change the deployment, if you will. So if it's standalone and you switch to a collection, it's going to remain standalone. If it's network, it's going to remain network. The new term single user, multi-user licensing. So there's not a direct path to go from a standalone license to a multi-user license at this time. We have been told that that's in the works, so that'll probably be something that's available in the near future, but we do not know when that is going to be. As of now, you can make the switch to a collection. It just will not be something that you can change the deployment on. Okay, here's another good one. If my maintenance plan is expired, can I still switch to subscription? The answer to that is no. So this program is specifically for everyone that has a current maintenance plan. So if your maintenance plan is active, you have the ability to switch to a subscription. If it's expired, you do not have that ability to do that. What we could do at that point is kind of work with you on a one-on-one basis, kind of see what your licensing pool looks like, understand your needs, and kind of put together a program for you. But essentially, you would have to buy a new license if you do not have a current asset on a maintenance plan. And it looks like we got time for one more question here. This one is from David. And he's asking, what happens if I do switch to subscription and then I do not pay the subscription? What happens to my license at that point? Yeah, that's another good question. So I think the scenario you're painting here is you have a maintenance plan, you switch to subscription. What happens if I don't renew that subscription, a year or two from now? What would happen is, since these are term-based licensing, you are going to be giving up your perpetual license in turn for a lease, essentially. So what that means is at the end of the term on the subscription, you can renew it or you can't renew it. If you renew it, your license will continue to work. If you don't renew it, you will not have the ability to access that software anymore. So if you're going to go to subscription, I highly recommend that you stay on this plan and continue to receive the lower pricing, and you obviously need to if you need to access the software. So that's a good question. The main takeaway there is, if you're going to switch to subscription, make sure that you plan to keep that subscription active in order to use the license. 90% of our customers renew their maintenance every year, so they're already used to paying an annual fee for licensing updates anyways. If you transition to subscription, you're going to pay less than you are on maintenance over the next 3 years at least, and you're going to get access to the newer platform and the additional tools. That looks like that's about the last question that came in here. So if there's anything else that you guys missed or want to know information on, contact your sales rep, send an email to info@ketiv.com. We'll be happy to take these offline one-on-one. We'll be happy to talk to you about the discounted training and put together a specific M2S program, kind of a data sheet for you specifically if that's what you're interested in. Thank you all for attending. Have a great day.